Hi everyone, it's Adam Mitchell here with Treasure Trading, and we are back with another recap video. Today is Sunday, October 16th, 2022, and I'm going to be talking about my trades from Thursday, October 13th and Friday, October 14th. So on Thursday, I lost $22. You know, Thursday was kind of a rough day for me. You know, we can look at this chart here. You know, I was up about $25 at one point on the day, and then we can see that I took a hit all the way down to maybe minus 15, and then I was able to get myself back up to break even, but then I wound up losing on the day $22. So, you know, after I was done trading on Thursday, I admit I was pretty upset, and I decided to just not make a video, you know, because I just couldn't bring myself to do it because I was really that upset. I hate losing. I really hate losing, and I'm the type of person and the type of trader that is convinced that I can make money every single day, and that's it, because every single day there is opportunity to make money. And when I find myself down on the day, you know, after all the trades that I've taken, you know, by 11 o'clock in the morning, if I'm down, I mean, it's just not a good feeling. I went from being up 25 to basically down 25. So I lost about $50 off of the highs. So that wasn't fun. Something I'm still dealing with is that emotional response when it comes to losing. So yeah, and then on Friday, I made 84. I mean, that was really cool. I traded several stocks, and most of my profit came from, well, I should say, pretty much all of my profit came from IMRA and ATXI. But yeah, and then Friday, I was like, you know what, I'll just do a 2-day recap on Sunday. You know, for some reason, towards the end of the week, I just get exhausted, and I just don't want to make my videos because I have to go to work and stuff. And so, yeah, here we are on Sunday. I'm making my recaps now. But yeah, let's get into my video from Thursday, October 13th. So my first trade was on LASE. You know, we can see pre-market, it made this really big move. It went from like 290 all the way up to 437 pre-market. And then, you know, around 8 to 9 o'clock, it's, you know, selling off. And then coming into the open, I'm looking to get in it, like at the current price that it's at, because we can see that it's holding up this level of support right here. And I'm about to buy it and hold it into the open. So we can see right there, I bought 100 shares at $4, and I'm going to be selling it if it breaks below this level of support. But yeah, let's see what happens. So we start to squeeze up, and you know, we can see right there that I went ahead and sold it because it started to squeeze up. And you know, my back of mind target was this pivot level on this ABCD pattern, because we can see that we have an ABCD setup, right? A, B, C, D. And of course, in hindsight, I'm like, man, I should have held it longer. And I think by the end of this day, it was kind of like there was this thought on my mind that, man, like whenever I decide to sell it, it goes up. And then whenever I decide to hold on to it, it goes down. So, you know, I was kind of dealing with those thoughts a little bit after the end of this day. Because we can see on LASE, it starts to really squeeze up. So, you know, fast forwarding here, you know, this is the 1-minute chart now. But, you know, I was in at $4 and I sold it up, I think, at $4.10 maybe. And it squeezed up to, I think, $4.25. And then it made this nice pullback at the $4.10 level. And it ripped up to like $4.35. You know, I could have squeezed more out of this and maybe gotten this dip right here, but I just didn't trade it. But we can see right now I'm up $9 on the stock. I'm starting to build up my cushion for the day, right? Let's see what my next trade is on LASE. So fast forwarding, you know, we can see that we got this another breakout here, and I'm still keeping it on watch. And there we go. I just took a trade on it. I got in on this 1-minute dip with 100 shares at 435. And we're kind of popping up a little bit. And I was looking to get out at high of day. So we can see right there, I went ahead and sold it. And now I'm up about $20 on the stock. All right, that's cool. I'm stacking it up. Things are going according to plan. I'm making some money. I'm making my way to my profit target. And then fast forwarding to my next trade, you know, we can see that LASE just continued to make this rip up from the open, right? You know, this was a good setup, you know, buying it at the $4 mark, you know, went all the way up to, you know, $4.49. And now it's made this pullback, and I can see that we're holding up here at this 425 level. So I decided to go ahead and buy it. So I got 100 shares at 428. Now I'm just looking for this thing to make a squeeze up. So we're starting to get a little bit of a push here. I'm going to press play real quick because I sold it kind of early. I didn't really let it make a move. Yeah, let's press play. So I'm holding it. I'm waiting for it to start to pop up. And right here, we're starting to get that potential push up. And we're squeezing up. And there we go. I just went ahead and sold it right there. But then, of course, it starts to squeeze up even more. And I'm just like, man, I could have held out just a little bit longer. Like, why did I sell it where I did? Why didn't I wait for some type of push, right? Because it didn't really give a push. So, you know, I just wanted to look at that move. But, you know, we can see that now I'm up 26. So I'm doing okay on this stock right now. And then we can see right here, I take another trade. So I'm in with 100 shares at 432. And I can see it kind of cracking down more. And, you know, I'm starting to get nervous. So I just went ahead and sold it. But in all actuality, you know, that 425 mark would have been a good place to get back in because it wound up making a pretty decent, you know, push off of that level. So, yeah, and, you know, fast forwarding on LASE, I mean, we can see that off of this level, you know, it made this curl back up, you know, which that would have been a good move to be a part of. But we can see, I'm going to press play. It just gets hammered down at this level here. You know, it just flushes. And, you know, that's the kind of thing that you don't want to be a part of, you know, is buying it up here and then getting caught in this big flush. You always want to be getting your entries as close to support as you can. This bear market that we're in, these breakouts, the probability of them actually breaking out isn't very high. So I'm staying away from most breakout setups right now because of this reason. They just fail. Yeah, and it's continuing to sell off. You know, but we can see that I'm up about $22 on this stock now. So then here comes my series of losses, right? So here's PEGY. And, you know, it's funny what I was just talking about, you know, the breakout's not working all that well because I took a breakout setup on this thing. You know, there was this double top at the open here, and we sold off. You know, this double top was around 660. We sold off all the way down to 6, and now we're back up at 650. And I'm about to get in this thing, which is not really smart, you know, because I'm basically getting in at the top of the move is pretty much what's happening. So we can see that I bought 75 shares at 664 because we got this break, and I'm getting in really not at the best price at all, you know, 664. And then I'm about to switch to the 1 minute chart. So here's the 1 minute chart, and we can see that I'm down on this thing. And just looking at it, it's like, man, this thing obviously needs to pull back. So I really didn't get a good trade on this thing. I got in super high, and it costs me, right? You know, that's what happens when you get bad trades, is it costs you money. It's like, oh man, you know, it's not just that you took a good trade and you were wrong. It's like, this was a bad trade, and I'm about to sell it. And now we can see that I'm down $14 on the stock. So, man, this took a nice chunk out of my profit for the day. But yeah, so this was unfortunate. You know, this was a losing trade. And then, you know, right after that trade, I switch over to REV, because this stock is halted. It squeezed up from 440 all the way up to 505. And now it's halted. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to get a trade on this. And I got in it here. I'm going to press play so we can watch this. So it just resumed, and I'm getting in on this dip. I didn't get the best fill. I'm in at 494 with 50 shares, and we just got to squeeze up to 520 And maybe I could have sold into that, but you know, we can see that we're getting a sell-off now. We're not really holding up. I mean, I'm still up, you know, $5 to $6 to $7, which isn't terrible. I mean, I'm up 10 cents a share. But I'm holding it and I'm hoping that we're going to get that big squeeze up, but it's just not happening. I'm not sure how long I hold this thing. I'm going to press pause, fast forward here. So here we go. It just so obviously looks like it's going to drop off, and it's making that bigger pullback. Man, I'm down 12 bucks on it, and I just went ahead and cut it, and I'm down 14 on this. So I just went from, you know, losing 14 on the last stock to losing 14 on this one. So I think at this point I was down maybe a few bucks on the day, because I was up like 25, I think, for taking these two losses. So I'm down like $3, I think. So yeah, I was pretty frustrated. But that wasn't really a good trade, right? I mean, that was a halt resumption. I held it for way too long. I should have just taken profit when I had it. And then when I realized that it wasn't really moving up in the way that I wanted it to, I should have just gotten out of it. So yeah, that was unfortunate. So then fast forwarding on REV, you know, we got this sell off and then it turned around. And I mean, would have been such a great place to get in, because we had this very obvious level of support that's holding. You know, we have basically like a triple bottom, and we have the 20 moving average, and it's squeezed up nicely off that level. And then it's just holding up, and, you know, now we're getting a nice squeeze to the upside. And I think I'm pretty much taking some revenge trades at this point, or I'm just convinced that we are going to get that big squeeze up, right? Because we got this halt back here. Maybe we're going to get a second move up. So I took 40 shares at 497, and I'm holding it, and we're getting a squeeze up, right? I'm up 11 bucks. You know, I'm in with 80 shares now at 506. So I'm adding into it because it's looking good. And, you know, we can see that it's kind of slowing down, like it's going to pull back again. So I think I go ahead and sell it. Nope, I'm still holding it, right? But we are getting that pullback. I really should have sold it up here, right? Because I think I was up like 20 bucks at one point. Yeah, I mean, I'm up 15 right there. You know, right here, I'm up 18 bucks. I mean, that's not bad. And we've already gotten this really big move. I mean, God, from 480 up to 530, we've already moved about 10%. Right? And when we move like 10%, we need to be selling it and expecting that pullback. So I should have sold it up here when I was up 18 and locked this up, but I didn't. And I held it, and it began to pull back. And I think I just go ahead and cut it right there. When I was only up 8, you know, I left 10 bucks on the table. So, but I was able to recoup some of my losses, which is nice. And then fast forwarding on REV, you know, this was that point that it pulled back at. It created another very obvious level of support right here that you could have been buying at, you know, around the 515 level. And then boom, it squeezes up. I didn't trade this one the best, I don't think, but I'll get it next time. I'll trade it better next time. All right, here we go. IMUX. I think this was my last trade. But if not, this will be the last stock that we look at for Thursday, October 13th. You know, this was kind of like the icing on the cake that kind of, you know, made me upset even more. So IMUX, we're getting this squeeze up. So I'm getting in with 80 shares at 984 because we're getting this breakout of all of this resistance. Right, so we are above the 200, we're above VWAP, we're above the 9 moving average, and we're above the 20 moving average. And it really looks like it's gaining some really strong momentum for a break over this $10 level. But the mistake that I made on this was that I didn't sell it at a reasonable price, and I was expecting the bigger move, right? Like just what I was saying earlier, when it seems like I hold it and it doesn't make the move, and then situations where I sell it and it does make the move. You know, and what I also just mentioned not too long ago was that when a stock makes a 10% move, and I've said this in other videos, it's 10 to 15%, right? A stock really has that ability to move 10 to 15% in any direction before turning around. And, you know, looking at this stock here, It's $9. Okay, we're up at $9.90. That's 10%. And another 5% off of $9 would be maybe around $10.25 or $10.30 or something like that, which the quarter dollar presents its own level of resistance. So I should have realistically maybe only looked to hold this thing up into that level, because then this would have been a nice 10 to 15% move. So yeah, let's see what I do. So I'm in with 80 shares, and then we can see right there, it makes that squeeze up to 10.16. And we can see, I mean, I'm in with 160 shares now at 9.93, you know, because I felt really confident about this breakout. And we can see that I'm up $31 on this thing. Man, I should have sold this thing, right? I should have sold this thing up at this level, especially once I switch over to the 1 minute chart. So switching over to the 1 minute, you know, if I was looking at this by this third candle right here, when I would have still been up, you know, maybe $25 or $20 or something, you know, because now we can see I'm only up 3. I'm basically at break even now, right? Because I missed my opportunity to sell at this level, right? We have this double top here, and by this third candle, I should be selling, because there's this obvious level of resistance. And, you know, even from pre-market, it kind of looks like that's an area that would be hard to break through, right? I should have sold it, but instead I held it, and it wound up turning into a loss, right? So I'm down like $7 on that thing. So that kind of added to my sadness for the day. And I wound up being down on the day like $22. So it was a very upsetting day because I just didn't perform well. I could have made money, but I didn't. And that's just really not fun. I really hate losing. Like, I really hate losing. And I definitely need to get better at accepting days that I do lose, so I don't, I just need to cope with them better, because I was really upset on Thursday. And, you know, I didn't make my video because I just didn't want to think about stocks anymore that day. But yeah, so that was Thursday, October 13th. I'm down $22 on that day. All right, so let's get into Friday, October 14th. So on this day, I made $84. You know, that was nice. You know, it's nice to end the day green like that. You know, that's a pretty good sized green day, you know, given the size that I've been trading. And, you know, we can see that, you know, my first trade, I lost like a few bucks, but then after that, I just kept stacking it up. So that was cool. Let's get into those trades. All right, so my first trade, ATXI. So I'm buying 150 shares for this dip into the 20 moving average, but also into these pre-market high levels as well. So I figured that this would be a good place to get in to see if we can get that curl back up. So I'm getting in with 150 shares at 347. So we're getting a squeeze up, and, you know, right there we can see that I sold it. Let's see where I sold it. Let's press play. I'm about to sell it. So right there, I went ahead and sold it. I think at 359 or something. But, you know, I should have maybe held it up to 365, right? Because we wind up getting this squeeze up. Like, I need to get more specific about where I'm selling it instead of just selling it at a price just because it popped up. All right, so yeah, that's my first trade. All right, I'm up $20. Cool. Getting some good entries, getting some good trades here. So fast forwarding, right? So, you know, this was my first trade right here. It popped up, and, you know, it squeezed up even a little bit more, but now we got this other pullback here, and I can see that we've got this, you know, ABCD setup, and we've got this nice level of support, and I'm about to take a dip on it. So we see that it dips right in this candle, and I'm getting in with 100 shares at 357, because now I'm looking for this thing to curl back up. But what do? As always, I sell it early. Let's see where I sold it. Right here. Right there is where I sold it. So I basically sold it break even. I didn't even give it a chance to make that next push up. Let's fast forward it and see what it did. So fast forwarding, you know, we can see that it held up, it kept coming up into this level of resistance, which would have been a profit taking zone, right? This double top, you take profit into that level because you don't know if it's going to break. And then we can see in this candle that it did break, but now it's back down again. I think I'm about to hit the buy button. So right there, I just pressed buy. I'm in with 100 shares at 371. And, you know, we're getting that squeeze back up into these high levels here. And I'm looking for it to really make that rip up through these highs back here. So just to recap, you know, I got a trade right down here. And I sold it super early, you know, basically break even. And we got the curl up and, you know, just more profit that I left on the table. I got to get better about that. I really do. So now we can see right here, it's making this pullback. And I'm in with 200 shares at an average of 374. So this is a bit of a risky position. You know, just watching this back, I'm like, man, this is a risky trade because this thing could really just flush down, you know, all the way to 350 in a heartbeat. And I could take a bigger loss than I would like. But we're holding up, right? Like we're still getting bought up off of those levels, but we need to break out above these levels here. So we can see that we're starting to get this push up. So right there, we got an even bigger push up into the highs, right? And I sold it up into the highs because I'm like, you know, I don't want to push it. And I added nicely to my profit. You know, I'm up $27 on the stock now. You know, but fast forwarding, we can see that we got to push up through the highs up to 388. And then fast forwarding even more, we're up at 396 now. And I'm feeling agitated. I'm pretty sure I remember feeling agitated. I mean, because why wouldn't I be? I got the trade down here, sold it super early. I'm getting, you know, I'm getting positioned decently in this area, but I'm not holding it for the breakout. So, you know, it's just money that I'm leaving on the table. And then we got a really nice dip right here. I'm going to press play because I was considering buying this dip, but I just didn't do it. So it's getting bought up. And I'm just like, man, I should have taken that dip entry. And then by this candle, I mean, it really starts to take off. It's like, God, dude, this dip at 380 went all the way up to 406. That would have been a nice trade. So yeah, those were my trades on ATXI that I wanted to look at. You know, now we can look at IMRA because that's a stock that I made like 50 bucks on that stock. So we can take a look at my first trade here that I missed profit on. So I bought this dip down into the 200 moving average at 351. I got in with 150 shares. And I think I just wound up stopping out of it. I wind up just selling it, and then it pops up. You know, it's holding above the 200 moving average, right? Which is that level of support that I was buying into, right? For it to stay above that to see if we can get a curl up. And then, you know, fast forwarding just a little bit more here, you know, we can see that it broke up through these levels all the way up to 365 about, and that would have been a nice trade. I mean, I was in with 150 shares at like 350 or something. And it squeezed up all the way to 365. So that would have been a nice trade. So fast forwarding on IMRA. So, you know, this was where I traded it back here. I was getting in at these lows, but I got out, you know, basically break even. Then I made it a nice curl. Wish I got profit there. But then it sold off. And then it came down here. And now it's making this curl back to the upside. And now we're getting back above VWAP. So I'm thinking that this looks interesting. So I got in for the break of VWAP. I'm in with 150 shares at 353. And we start to get a squeeze up here, you know, but, you know, we got a bit of a pullback. And let's see. And, you know, it's just doing a bunch of weird stuff. So I'm going to fast forward through all of this to show you what I was up by the end of it. So here we go. Fast forwarding through all this chop here. I was up about 10 bucks. And, you know, this was around 10:30 in the morning, and I traded it more in the afternoon. So we're going to fast forward to the afternoon to see what this stock did. All right, so here is IMRA. You know, this is about 30 minutes later, right? So I was kind of trading it through this range here. It's very choppy. Now we're back down again. And now, you know, on the 5-minute chart, you know, we can see this very obvious ABCD setup. And, you know, we can see it on the 1-minute chart here. You know, we got A, B, C, and then I was looking for D, right? D to come in. So I'm going to be getting in for this break of VWAP again, right? You know, just like I took back here. I'm going to take another stab on it right here. So I'm going to press play. So right there, we got the break, and I'm getting in it. I got in with 200 shares at 354. And now I'm looking for this thing to really just squeeze up. You know, I probably won't hold it for that long, right? Because I'm bad at holding my trades for very long. But let's see what it does here. It's squeezing up more. I'm up, you know, 10 bucks, 12 bucks. I just went ahead and sold it right there. And let's see what it winds up doing. You know, but now we can see that I'm up $22 on the stock. So, all right, that's cool. So we got this pullback off of these levels here, you know, because we can see that there's this level of support here, or we can see this level of resistance here that price came off of. And now we're coming down into all this support, and I'm getting in with 150 shares at 354 because now I'm looking for this thing to curl up. So we can see that it's curled up here, and I sold half and I sold the rest, and now I'm up $31, right? So I'm just adding profit, which is nice. So then fast forwarding again, I mean, this was the last place that I traded it. I got this break of VWAP. I sold it up here. I bought back down here, sold it up here. And then we just kind of sold off again. And now I'm taking another trade on this thing because it looks like it's going to make this breakout. So let's see here. I'm getting in with 150 shares at 357. And we're starting to get a squeeze up. And now we're like really making a squeeze up. I mean, you know, so we can see right in there, I sold it again. And I'm up $40 now because we're coming up into all this resistance again. So I just went ahead and sold it into that level. But I got a decent move, you know, a decent 10-cent move about. And then I kind of just start trading it throughout this range here. You know, we can see I'm up 43 there, and I just took like a dip entry, and I'm up, you know, 50 there. And I just keep taking a bunch of random stabs on it. And, you know, I'm up 53. Let's see here. Yeah, so there we go. I'm up $51 at the end of it. So that was pretty cool. So, yeah, so most of my profit on Friday, well, all of my profit on Friday came from IMRA and ATXI. So yeah, that's really all I want to talk about from Friday. And yeah, sorry that, you know, these recaps, you know, some of them come out a little bit late. On Thursday, I just got knocked out of the game and just didn't want to think about it. And then Friday, I was like, you know what, I'll just do it Sunday. But yeah, you know, that's the recap from Thursday and Friday. I think I made, I don't know, like 60 bucks altogether on those 2 days. I'm on a decent green streak, which is nice, and hopefully we can continue it into next week as well. So yeah, that's the video. And again, if you guys like these recaps, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and hit the like button. And I will see you guys in the next video. All right.